Hello everybody. It's great to be here and to be able to talk to you about my journey in life and understanding who I am. What I talk to you about in life is generally everything has been given in a process for me to be able to understand. It took me a long time to get to a place where I started to know myself. When I was first born, I wanted to be connected to everything. What I wanted and what I got were two different things. What I realised that when I started to grow in a country town called Three Springs, I started to see everyone as equals. And then slowly but surely things started to happen. And all of a sudden there was this division. And I was sort of a bit confused about it. And I wasn't too sure why some of my friends wouldn't come to my house. And sometimes I wouldn't see them out there playing with us when I arrived. And then I started to see this separation, this energy started to present itself to me. And I'd go home to my father and my mother. And I'd say, why wasn't they there? And they would say, it's okay. Some people just not able to connect and understand our people. And I say, what do you mean when you say our people? I thought we're all just the same. Oh, you'll find out one day in life. You see, one day a little child, he committed suicide. Not little, he was 18 years of age after school. He was in America. And I was maybe about 8 years old, maybe 9, give or take a couple. And I said to my dad, Dad, why would someone want to commit suicide, Dad? That's crazy. There's so much to live for. Life is so fantastic. And he said, son, sometimes some people have a hard time understanding where they fit in life. And this young boy, unfortunately, he was always picked last at school for everything. I said, what is that? What do you mean? He said, he was picked last. Oh, I don't understand, Dad. Well, sometimes always the kids that are acknowledged and seen are the ones that are picked first. And then they work their way down, and sometimes the kids that are picked last don't feel as though that they were seen. And this boy wrote a letter and said that he didn't feel like he was anything because no one acknowledged him or felt acknowledged. I said, really, Dad? Well, I know I'm not doing that ever again. I went back to school and I was one of those people that was good in the sports and played football and basketball and a very high level. And I went to the school and I said, no. And I started picking the kids who didn't really want to be there. And they were confused. You picked me, Shaun? And my friend looked at me, because Shane, he was the other captain. You're picking him? I said, yeah. And he walked up to me and he says, why'd you pick me? Because I see you. Because I know you're here. I want you to know that. I want you to be a part of it. Thank you. And then the next one and the next one. My teacher came over and said to me, Shaun, that's one of the greatest things I've seen. And these kids' numbers started to get bigger at school. I didn't realise the impact because I was only a kid running around, yeah? I went to Perth. Then life changed really big for me. My backyard was my home. No longer could I run out in the bush and wait for the lights to come on in the streets and then one auntie and uncle or friends and everyone down the street be going, get home, hurry up. Like, yes, we've been a bit long, we're just going to catch some more tadpoles or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Finally we walked through the door. But in Perth, it was different. I was truly, truly disconnected from my culture. I was truly disconnected from my parents, my grandparents, and everything that I knew of when it comes to my people. Because when people looked at me and they said, you, blackfella, and I go, yeah, yes I am. Well, you know all about Aboriginal mob. I go, I don't know, man. All I know is that we're all equal, aren't we? We're all the same. But internally, things really weren't right. There's this thing that we call the weaver bird. Have you heard of the weaver bird? This bird weaves nests. Pretty simple. Well, scientists, as they are, they want to test the boundaries of humanity and all the internal things of anything we see in the world, and we want to try and change things. See if we have the ability. Well, how far can we push the balance of life in anything? So they said, well, if we just breed this bird in a captivity where it can no longer weave, then generation beyond generation beyond generation, these birds will no longer wish to weave because no one's passed it on. 30 generations later, 40 generations later, and so on, What do you think happened when that bird, the baby, had an opportunity to weave? It weaved, yes? And this is the truth. In somewhere in our life, and in my life, I was put in a place where I could no longer nurture my culture, my language, my dance, my art, and everything that was naturally a part of my being, to be connected, not to just the human life, but to my brother, the tree, my father, the moon, my mother, the earth. That's when things really started to hit for me. That's when I started to really realise, wait on, there's something going on here. And I got angry. As I was growing up in this place called Balgogera Kandula, KGB ABC, it rolls off my tongue because I love it and I live it. I never leave, yeah? Yeah, you know. Well, I went to school there and I had seen this little kid and he was getting pushed in the tree by some Aboriginal mob and some other mob who were really big and part of gangs. We had gangs everywhere. Bikies were ranking out the front, the Italian mafia and the Lebanese mafia, and all the mafias were there because they were selling their drugs and they were causing havoc in our school. And the teachers would be very much every 3 months, and then if they lasted 3 months, and then we just had this retroactive issue consistently growing in our school. I see this little boy getting picked on. I went over and I said, stop. No more. I'm over this. Nannup, you sure, brother? You want to step in here? Because you know what happens when you mess with our mob, brother. And I said, yeah, I know what happens, bro. But I'm hoping you just stop because I'm over you doing this. I'm over him doing that. I'm over this group doing that. This intimidation affects us all. Stop. So he attacked me. And at this stage in my life, I learned that if I wanted to live in this area, I had to learn martial arts. And who better to be taught by? And that was the tactical response man, Glenn Miller. He was a phenomenal guy. He taught me so much in so much of a short time. I did iron palm. So I was training with the tactical response. And I was thinking to myself, if I can survive this, I can survive anywhere, yeah? They're big guys, yeah? And my good friend's brother was one of the head police officers and he invited me along. So I trained with them. This guy attacked me and I put him down. And it was a moment I actually enjoyed, was expressing anger. He gave me a key. And people said, you know, Shaun, that was great what you did. And I went home to his uncles and I told them what happened. I didn't hurt him. I just said, I don't want any more of this intimidation at school. He's my little brother now. Anyone goes near him, you've got to come and deal with me. So you imagine how many of my friends that grew. I had the Italians, I had the Lebanese, I had the Indians, I had these kids who had glasses on, some hair was over this side and there was none on this side. I had people with all different types of different, things going on for them. But they were the ones that were in the minority. And guess what? I was a minority. Even though I was in Belga, we were the majority. All of a sudden we want to intimidate everybody because when you're taught in a surrounding of pain, sadness and hate, then you project pain, sadness and hate. But internally this weaver bird inside me said, this is not you, Shaun. So one day I walked into a room and there was a lady there called Rosalind Snyder. Wisdom in your life if you ever have an opportunity to see this wonderful woman. People in the crowd going, yeah. Phenomenal lady. My Uncle Noel, Nannup, was there, always moving around me. I always knew there was something about this weavering life that I wasn't too sure how to make part of my life because I was just so angry. So one day I went out on country with my uncle. And I'll get back to Rosin in a few seconds. My uncle said to me, what do you want to come out to country for? I said, the reason why I want to come out to country for, Uncle, because I meet these people who've got a really quick tongue, They've got so much to say about blackfellas. And they tell me how bad we are. And someone said to me the other day in a place where I couldn't grab him and give him a hiding, because then I would have been in big trouble. But he said to me, you know what we do to your people? Take them out onto the boats, put some chains around them and chuck them over the edge with weights and be done with them. And I said, truly? I said, have you ever been a part of the Aboriginal community? And he said, no way. And I said, that's why you would say something like this. It ticked away in my heart. Did he not see me? Am I a small man? Am I not scary enough for him to feel as though that some sort of venom of words that would echo in my life and I would then explode and want to hurt him? Haven't I got the ability to intimidate him to the point where he no longer wants to say anything bad towards me? So I went out of country. I said, Uncle, you need to teach me how to talk to this mob and tell them about our history, you know. They came over here and they took our land and they destroyed everything. They poisoned the waters. They took our family, our children. My grandmother, she took my grandmother away from her family. And my uncle said, why are you here, boy? I need to know how to fight this, not with my fist, but with my mouth. He said, sit down. Is it okay if I sit? So I sat down and I said, come on, feed me. Come on, I want to eat this mob. He went, shh. And we sat. We sat there for a while. I said, Uncle, you're not saying anything. Tell me, because it's really like, getting late and I'm getting hungry. And my nura starting to hurt me, my booger. Can you tell me? Shh. I started to cry. I burst into tears. He gave me a hug. It was the first hug that I really felt that I was connected to something. He said, go, come back again, nephew, and we'll start again. He would tell me, boy, sit down over there and stay there, and then when I come back, we'll be right, we'll go on. So I sat there for half an hour, in the sun. I didn't move because I dared not to. And I said, why is it that, Uncle, you left me there? What did you learn? What did I learn? I heard it's hot, and I got a sword Nura. Once again, we're back to that same problem, Why don't you just tell me what's going on? Because I came all the way out here, I deserve to be told. You're my uncle, you have to tell me, right? My nephew, you're not ready. Ready for what? See, this is the problem. You're not telling me. We're driving along. Do you see it, boy? No, I don't see it, Uncle. I don't see a tractor. Is it a plane? What am I looking for? Is it a house of people? What is it? Well, tell me. Oh, you're not ready. Someday, and we're talking a year and a half, 2 years. I'd go out, pumped up. Come on, he's going to tell me something. I'd go home and I'd tell my father and my mother, and disrespectful, Dad. I took all my time to go out on the country with him, and he had taught me nothing. All I do is say, do you see it? And I don't see nothing, Uncle. Dad, tell me, what is it I'm supposed to be seeing? My boy, you're not ready. Oh, my goodness, I'm not ready. I'll do something ready in a minute, Then one day it hit me. We're driving along and we're going out to Northam, and he said, out to York. He said, you see it, nephew? I said, yeah, I see it. Salmon gum. It's been right there all that time. Salmon gum. And the limestone. We went from granite into limestone. And I remember the bird. I remember the wind changing when I was sitting there for so long waiting for you, and those birds way up in the sky, they used to fly across. It always happened around that time. And you made me sit there at that time of the day. My boy, are you ready? You see, I was going out there to armour myself up with hate and anger and pain and use my culture in a way that was never intended to be. I had to reconnect to my mother because my mother has so many teachings for me that I have yet to learn, and I still wish to continue. When you truly want to feed yourself with love and truth, there's no place for hate and anger. It just can't live there. So before I stand you today early and I'm telling you about the rhythm of the land and connecting and understanding and breathing and tasting it, we must create a foundation before the bricks of information come. Because when the bricks of information come to us in life, if you don't have your foundation, where do you put it? You just put it to the side and the bricks just pile up. And someone say to you, what's it like living with Aboriginal mob? Hey? You've been there for 40 years. Wow, tell me all about them. Oh, well, they're all very connected to land. They've got very family orientated. They love kangaroo. They've got this kangaroo stew. It's all very good, no problem, They love it, But what about them? Can you tell me where they live? How do they hunt? Do they gather? I don't know. But you lived there for 40 years amongst the Aboriginal mob. How many Aboriginal people you meet? Oh, no, yeah, maybe 3 or 4, not too sure. You see, when we start to understand how to truly connect, it happens automatically. We can't tell you when the time is right. We always have to have patience. Rosalind Snyder had so much patience with me. The day she introduced her understandings of life, she's a clinical psychologist. She has a picture that was in front of me for about 2 years. And she would say to me, Shaun, do you see the pattern? I said, why don't you tell me the pattern? I could tell you, Shaun, but do you see it? No, I don't see it. Here we are again, going down this road. Oh, my God. Oh, you're just like my uncle. Oh, well, Shaun, when the day you are ready, then we can start to help you. Oh, okay, whatever. This map came to life when I realised that I almost killed somebody through this anger and pain. I walked in the door and I said, Ross, all right, I'm sick of just walking in here and talking to you and driving all the way down to Mandurah from Perth, and just doing nothing. You just look at me and say, do you want to paint? And I go, no. Do you want to do anything about your story? No. And I'm just like, what am I doing coming down here? I need to stop this anger because I'm going to kill someone, either kill someone or kill myself. Help me, Roz. Tell me what it is that I need to do to understand this pain. She said, draw me a house. I said, okay, Ross. So I drew a house. I said, this is easy. I was so scared about this. Draw me your family, your mum, your dad, your auntie, your cousin. I said, yeah, no worries. I put it all in there. Yay. Too easy. I thought it was going to be hard. Because when you go from the thinking world on the left side, you go to your right side of the brain, and you go to the front, and you go to the back, you go to the middle. That's when you start to dance with your truth. And it comes so quick and fast. And she said to me, draw me your granny flat. Oh, you don't want to go there, Ross. You want to see pain. Those mongrels that grabbed my nan and my grandfather and pushed them to the ground and made them kiss the ground and ask for forgiveness. Are you serious? You want me to forgive them? Or even understand about how they could ever do that to my grandmother? I don't think so. If I was alive today, if they were alive today, I would find them. I would bury them. And then I would bring them back to life. And then I'd bury them again. And I'd bring them back to life. And I'd just keep on going. She said, really? Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I said, what are you just laughing for? Oh, I'm angry. And she said, fantastic, because we didn't know where that anger was coming from. You didn't know where that anger was coming from. It's been laying dormant inside your body for so long. Now we've got some place to work from. Before, you hid it so well. And I cried my eyes out. I said, you'll never make me forgive them. And she said, no, I'll never do that, Shaun. When you're ready, you will do this yourself. And I said, that will never happen. But be careful, because never's just around the corner. I forgive them for what they did to my grandmother, because you're in bad places, you make bad choices. In good places, you make good choices. Guess what? I've been in a bad place, and I made bad choices. And the first thing that I ask for is forgiveness. If I cannot forgive myself for not being there to keep my grandmother safe, then how am I going to forgive anybody else? So I went on a country with my uncle, and I went out country with this wonderful man for many a moon. And I asked them to share the energy of peace and love that they have in their hearts and their minds. It's infectious. So today, wherever I go and whatever I do, I'm very lucky and I'm very blessed to be able to ask myself every time, every day, Shaun, how you going, mate? I'll go, yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too good. Are you in a place where you're nurtured or cared for? Or are you in a place where you're not and you need to make sure that you are? Awareness of who you are and how you're managing yourself is paramount. That's for me. So today, thank you very much for allowing me to be here, to talk to you about my journey. May your energy be truly connected to everything, and you feel connected in a way that hopefully today, that everyone feels as my brother and uncle David does to Aboriginal culture, and you start weaving whatever it is you wish, and the people around you feed you, because they've always been there. We just got to see it. So thank you very much.